presentation today.
All right, thanks, Alec. Appreciate you. All right, so imagine you just hired a brand new Gen Z employee, and they're excited, they're motivated, but then all of a sudden they walk out the door. This never happened to y'all before, right? Monday, okay, so it's now Thursday and you're still feeling the pain. Imagine you were very excited about this new hire, but they left you for less money. Does that make any sense at all? They left you for another position, and you're just sitting there scratching your head because here's the tea. This employee was smart, adaptable, innovative. They brought the energy, enthusiasm, but you lost them. Does that sting to anybody else, right? Does that feel like, how could I have recovered from this? That's what we're here to talk about today, is unlocking potential with this new generation. How can we unlock the potential that is the rocket ship, that is the missile, that is chefing, that's chopping up new ideas and helping all of us grow our businesses to that next level? That's where we want to go, right? We're in the Chamber of Commerce together. We all want to grow our businesses to the next level, but we need to be able to unlock the potential in this next generation, or we're going to get passed by everybody else that is. So without further ado, I'm teeing up my friend Kevin Johnson. He's here to share a framework, some ideas, and some really practical, applicable ways that you can unlock the potential in this next generation. Just a couple of things about Kevin. Kevin is the co-founder of Express Pros Training. He's a certified distributor of multiple leadership assessment tools, including the OAD and Korn Ferry's emotional and social competency model. Kevin loves geeking out on the research on this stuff. What really makes people tick, and how do we keep them engaged? He has an MBA from the University of Texas at Tyler and continues to teach some business courses there as well. He's got 2 daughters that keep him lit, fam.
Tote.
Bet.
Bet.
And 3 dogs. So you're going to really enjoy hearing from Kevin. Let's give Kevin a warm Midlothian welcome.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me. I think we're here till 9:30. I think I go till about 9:20, so I'll be watching the time. But help me just to understand a little bit of who's in the room. I met my peeps over here, but to kind of give me an idea of who's in the room. I know we've got our Rent-A-Center folks back here, Joe and his team.
Personal services.
Okay, great. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Sharon.
Hey.
I have a nonprofit called Raw.
Okay.
Yeah, because I support the single ladies.
I love it. I love it. Creative. Okay.
Amy Freeman with the Navarro College Small Business Development Center. It's a no-cost confidential service to small business owners.
Yeah, great.
I'm the front office coordinator for Espresso Waxahachie.
Okay, good to meet you.
Good out, Christopher.
Okay, good to meet you. Okay, anybody else over here?
Amy with Ashgrove Cement Company here in Midlothian.
Okay, I felt like I've met you before, Amy. Okay, all right.
I'm Mallory with Olive Branch Insurance.
Okay, good,
I'm Colleen with Ron Mason State Farm.
good.
I'm Tyler Gibson with Blazex Sprinkler.
Okay, good. Okay,
I'm Victoria with the Chamber.
good to meet you, Victoria. Okay, good to meet everybody. So when we're talking about unlocking potential, well, before I do that, so in all the organizations here, do you have a younger workforce that you're actively managing and leading? No. Okay. Good. So when we think about unlocking potential, we're really talking about something in the human called motivation. Motivation. To reach our potential, for anybody to reach their potential, they have to sustain motivation. Sustained motivation. And so we're going to unpack that in quite the detail, but to start us, I want us to think about motivation with a metaphor, and that metaphor is a reservoir. What's in a reservoir? Water? Okay, so I want you to imagine every employee at some point in their professional journey, they had a certain amount of water in their reservoir. And that reservoir is fed by an internal spring. Okay? Now, leadership serves as the structure around that reservoir. If that structure is strong, what does that water do? Yeah, it's there, right? So, as leaders, can we put water in the reservoir? What do you think? How did I tell you this reservoir was fed? What? Yeah, by an internal spring. So, does the structure put water in the reservoir? No. Y'all don't sound very confident in that answer. Am I making you think too hard here early this morning? Listen, leaders cannot put motivation in people. You ever tried? Does it work? Never. It never works. You cannot carry a big enough stick, and you can't put out a big enough carrot to create motivation in a person. Okay? Will that preach? All right. So, but that's not a generational reality, and we're going to look at the research in a minute. That's a human reality. So we have to understand people have an existing internal set of motivation, an internal baseline of motivation. Now look at any child. Are they full of motivation? You are like, what? Okay, exactly. Most toddlers don't need a lot of prodding to be energetic and curious and creative and exploratory. Now, over life, depending on the environment that child is in, will determine the level at which that motivation either sustains or leaks. So going back to that structure, leadership's job is to build the right kind of system and structure so that motivation can remain. And because it's fed on an internal spring, that motivation can even grow over time. But a leader can't put the water in. But with a poor structure, what can happen to that water? Leaks. Right? It leaks. Now, as leaders, we're not perfect. Our structures and systems, the infrastructure we create, the environment we create as a leader is not always going to be perfect. And so sometimes there are going to be cracks, and that motivation can leak, but then we recognize it, hopefully. Maybe we go to a training or something like that, or we read a book or whatever. We talk to our spouse. Our spouse, a lot of times, can help keep us honest and help point out our blind spots. So we go, we fix that, and that motivation, it'll fill back up. It's not the end of the world. But over a period of time, if we have a lot of cracks in the structure, what happens to the motivation in that person? It completely drains out. And then it can become dry and barren, and that's called burnout. Okay, that's called burnout. And so this metaphor, I want to, I guess, implant in our mind that we cannot create motivation. So if you're trying to really drive up people's motivation, you're running on a hamster wheel that's not going to get you anywhere. Okay, and that's all it's going to do is burn you out and frustrate you, and frustrate the people you're doing it to. So number 2, know that their motivation grows from within, and then number 3, we've got to build the right kind of structure. We've got to build the right kind of structure. So the good news today is I'm going to give you 3 materials to use to build a good structure as a leader. Okay, 3 materials. And these materials are 3 psychological needs every human has that when met, motivation is sustained and grows. And when motivation is sustained, what happens to performance? Yeah. Higher productivity, higher quality, greater levels of engagement. When motivation wanes, when it leaks, the opposite is true. Lower quality, lower engagement. Okay? But before we get into those 3 psychological needs, what I want you to do is, I want you to start thinking. I'm going to give you 30, 45 seconds here to think, and then I'm going to have you turn to a partner or neighbor and share this. Think about a time when you were highly motivated in the workplace. Now, Joe, I know you've got a few of your employees here. Hopefully they're saying right now. Right now, I am at an all-time high. But think about a time you were highly motivated at work. Why? Why were you so motivated? What was true around you or in you that made you motivated? So I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. And when you feel like you've kind of thought through that, turn to someone and y'all kind of share and talk about it, and then we'll see what we can piece together. Okay, let's see what we came up with. We don't have time for everybody to share, but what I want you to do is share for your partner. Tell about your neighbor's experience. Jump out there. We need 4 or 5 folks to share. All right.
Well, my partner really is motivated by helping people, knowing that she's made a positive difference in their day, in their moment, in their project, whatever the situation may be. Just an impact, yes.
Okay. So, and so did she give a specific time? Or is it like right now? What she's doing, she's highly motivated?
In general.
Okay, in general. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So making an impact. All right. What else? Someone else.
Both of us kind of agreed that, when we enjoy our jobs the most is when we're most motivated. So just, liking where you work or who you're working with or whatever.
Well, we'll peel that onion a little deeper. Why? What makes it enjoyable?
Who do you work for?
Okay, I'm going to come back to that, but I want for you guys, like personally, what's the answer to that?
I guess just the people that are there, I guess.
Okay, the relationships you have.
There's no drama.
Somebody in our area said something that relates to that. It's others seeing value in you.
Okay,
Right? That becomes motivating when they see the value in you.
they see your contribution.
Contribution.
Okay. Okay. And you were saying who you work for, and that's going to come down to a relationship, right? Okay, a couple more.
When you have a goal that you're working towards, so right now at the chamber, I'm feeling very motivated because we have Midlothian Fest at the end of April. So
Okay.
an event, there's a goal that I'm working towards and I can do.
Goal, progress. Okay. Good.
Mallory was talking about rewards.
Okay.
You have your goals and also your reward. Your, going back to values also, but also rewards at the end.
All right. Reward.
I would say having the tools, the skills, the tools, the experience, when you feel confident about something.
Nice. Confident, capable. I'm putting here with valuing our contribution. I'm calling that recognition, right? We said reward. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah, these are all great, but reality, money.
Okay. Which is a reward.
But money.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so money, okay, but is that, we're asking not why do we work, we're asking when am I at my highest in motivation?
But more specifically, with money, with receiving a raise, which could be tied into performance.
Okay, so that would be a reward, right? That would be a reward, yeah.
Encourage to think outside the box. Yeah. Encouragement maybe from your management team or anything like that.
So like you get to be creative. Is that what you're saying? When you get to put your thought and your thumbprint on something, right?
You get to be chefing.
Yes. All right, I'm going to put chef. Okay. Yeah, I want to affirm the raise, the financial reward of a job well done or a project achieved, a bonus or something. Yeah, absolutely. That's a form of a reward. But I would say like our every 2 week or every month paycheck, that doesn't motivate us. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't drive us, because we have a hierarchy of needs, and the basic one is survival. So we'll do a lot of things to survive, but that's not what we're asking today, right? Today's topic is not how to survive, it's unlocking potential, especially in a younger generation. And a paycheck to a younger generation is not that valuable. Would y'all agree or disagree with that? You can push back. Yeah, because that's what's making us scratch our heads, right? You're like, just get a job, right? But they're like, why? All right. So, okay. So we're talking about reaching potential. We're talking about sustained motivation. So as we all reflected on times where we were highly motivated, these were some of the components. And y'all are brilliant. Y'all are brilliant because all of these fit within the 3 core psychological needs we have. It's almost like psychological researchers have studied humans and they know, right? So let's talk about them. Number one, in one way we can maybe have fun and remember this is if we want to unlock potential in the next generation, we got to amp it up. We got to amp it up a little bit. A is autonomy. Autonomy. So as a leader, if I am trying to build the right structure and the right environment so that people's motivation is supported and even developed, I want to make sure I'm building autonomy into the workplace. What does autonomy mean?
It's trust that you can do your job and that you will do your job.
Okay. There's a trust component. It's a self-directed, right? What's this word auto mean? Vehicle? No? What does it mean? Self, right? Self. What do we think this NAMI word comes from? This is bonus points. Matt's going to give a bonus something to someone who gets this.
On the table.
Almost. Think about like an ergonomic chair. Or think about the book in the Bible, Deuteronomy. What do we think this word is? Rule. Rule. Good job. More tea right there. All right. Nami means, it really comes from a Greek word nomos, which means law or rule. Deuteronomy was a second giving of the law. Ergonomic, ergo means work. So it's a law that helps you work better. Autonomy, self-law. Autonomy literally means I will let you rule yourself, right? Now we're like, I don't know if I can trust someone to rule themselves. Okay, fair point, but that's where support and growth comes. But if a human wants to be highly motivated, Billy said it, like Billy as a grown man, very skilled, when he's highly motivated, it means he's allowed to put his fingerprints on what he's doing. He's not being micromanaged, right? So if we want to see motivation sustained in a person, we want to be looking for ways to build autonomy into the workplace. How can I allow the people I'm leading to have a say? Now, there are degrees, and that's a dimmer switch. It's not a light switch. No autonomy, full autonomy. Those aren't your two options. There are degrees. Leadership is more like gardening. Things are done over time and cultivated. You don't operate on a switch. So when we're thinking about this as leaders, we're not going to go back and master building autonomy into the workplace by the end of the week. But we want to start thinking, how can I give autonomy to others? How can I give autonomy to others? So that's what I want us to do for a minute. Just kind of circle up near some partners, 3, 4, 5 people. Think about some ways practically you can build autonomy into the workplace for the people you're leading. And I'm only giving you 2 or 3 minutes because we've got to get through all this here in the next 20 minutes. But I'll give you 3 minutes or so. Discuss that at your tables, and I want to hear some of your ideas. So let me hear a few of your ideas. How do we build autonomy into the workplace? Let's start firing them off.
So I love delegating.
Okay.
I'm a delegator because I'm a nonprofit, and so I don't really I have like 1.5 staff.
Okay.
People, but I have a working board. So I'm known as a visionary.
Gotcha.
So like I'm a download and then give to people.
Good.
So like I'm not a micromanager.
Good.
Like, I'm a purple-haired blonde chick.
Okay. Yes, you live up here.
Right.
You live up and out. Yeah, so delegation is key. It's a key skill. Some of us are maybe more predisposed to do it. Some of us might struggle with it more.
Both, but I do what I like to do, and then what I don't like to do, you get to do.
Nice. Thank you. Yes. All right.
Like it. So that's
Right.
one way.
I believe that is your gifting. You should do it.
Yeah.
Why should I do it?
So that gets into hiring and recruiting a team.
Spreadsheets, so you do it.
There we go. All right, delegating. What else?
Communicate and educate.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
If somebody doesn't know what their job function is and they're new, especially this new generation, they're coming in, like,
Right.
all this kind of stuff. And you got to talk about, what your job entails, what's available.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look around.
Mm-hmm.
Get some time.
Yep.
It's 4:30, we leave at 5. Look around, see what else there is. So we got to communicate this stuff. They're not going to
Correct.
see this stuff.
Yeah, so I do a lot of teaching on accountability. And clear expectations. Clarity is key. Clarity is key. And we don't have time, but we could go a long time talking about how clarity is missed a lot of times in the workplace. And it's not on purpose. It's because we've thought we've been clear. But, like if you were going to do a home project, however much time and money you think it's going to take, what should you do? Like double it, right? Okay, it's the same with clarity. When you think you've been clear, then double your communication. And then maybe you're getting close to being clear. Does that make sense? Like, just as true as a home project is going to take you longer and cost you more money every time, it's the same with clarity. When you think you've been clear, you're about 65% of the way there. You got to put more into it. Clarity, clarity, clarity will help with autonomy. Okay, what else?
We talked about direction, and Wayne gave a really good analogy of, if you had a picture you were able to draw. Some people give them a blank canvas and they're fine.
Okay.
Some people like the black and white that you fill in the dots.
Okay.
And other people like the completed picture, and they're doing the final.
Love it. Love it.
Piece. And so starting out with direction based on where that person's at.
Yes.
Really help them have one.
Yes. And we have an assessment tool that helps with that. And we teach that because that is a behavioral wiring, how we prefer direction. Big picture down to minute detail, right? And as a leader, we're going to talk the way we like it, right? If I just want the outline, my tendency will be just to give you the outline when you might need all the particulars, right? So we help with that.
So as a person who helps small business owners or hopeful small business owners, my job is to hold their hand as much as they need, right? If they don't want me to hold their hand, I won't. But if they need me to, I will. But I will not drag them, right?
Okay.
I'm here to help you, give you resources, support, education, information, all kinds of stuff. But I will not drag you.
There you go.
Not my job.
That's right.
But over time, I will release your hand, right?
Right.
The goal is for you to be
Independent.
totally
Yeah.
autonomous.
Good.
But it doesn't mean they can't come back for more. I always say that.
Sure.
You always come back when you reach another problem or issue. You reach back out, we get you back in here. I'll hold your hand again, right? But it does take the right. I face this every day, right?
Yep.
I can give you all the information in the world, but if you don't do it, you're not gonna get to the next level.
That's right. All right, we've got to go to the next one. But remember that dial, and that's what you're describing. If I have a new employee and I say, all right, go crush it, with no guidance, support, direction, that's not good leadership, right? So autonomy is built over time, but be looking to build autonomy into the way you're leading people. And so just do maybe a fresh an assessment of each of the people you're leading and say, you know what, is it time for me to release a little more autonomy with this person or that person? Because again, from no ill will, we just get in routine and habits as leaders. And sometimes it's like, man, I've been approaching this employee the same way for the last 10 months. They might have graduated a little bit to more of an autonomous place with this aspect of their job. Let me dial back a little bit. Okay, next one. We said, what are we going to do to increase potential? We got to what? It up?
Amp it up.
Amp it up. All right, so M would be next, which stands for mastery. And y'all hit that over here, especially right here. Someone talked about, I think it was you talking about, do we feel capable? Do we feel like we've got the tools? Do we feel like we know what we're doing? That's what mastery is, okay? So again, this is deeply researched. You can go study it. When a person feels like they're good at what they do, they're highly motivated. Now, none of us start out from day one good at what we do, except being bad. We're all good at that from day one. But if I'm going to run, I'm going to crawl and stumble and fall and all those things, right? And so mastery is not just the apex of being super competent. It's also that concept of progress and growth. In fact, there was a massive research study done at the Harvard Business School, and they published this research into a book, and it's called The Progress Principle. You can look it up. It's very good. I do teaching on that as well. When a person sees that they're making progress, even incremental, it is dopamine to the brain. Progress is dopamine to the brain. And it's a free way to stay high. Okay? Free way to stay high. Making progress. Why do you think that gaming is so popular? And in corporate America and the corporate HR world, a big trend is trying to gamify a lot of the trainings and things because people like to level up. They like to see the bar grow. When you're doing a big fundraiser, you want to put the thermometer out there and see how it's progressing. So there's a lot of psychology. We love to see progress. We love to see progress. And so it's not different for the next generation. They want to see growth and progress. So sometimes we've got to get creative to help people see how they're growing, how they're progressing, how they're a little better today than they were yesterday. We want to move employees to where they feel like they're good at what they do. I'm a big basketball fan. March Madness is going on. If I'm out on the basketball court shooting baskets and I'm missing, how motivating is that? Not very. But man, when I shoot and it swishes, it feels so good. It feels so good. It's therapeutic. If you're a golfer, man, you can chip that ball within about 5 feet of that pin. It's just so motivating. When we can help our people become masters, highly competent at what they're doing, they're going to be motivated. They're going to be motivated. Let's just debrief this as a group because of time. What are a couple of ways we can support mastery with our employees? What are some practical things we can do as leaders to help build mastery in our people? Encouragement? Yeah, it's better than discouragement. For sure.
Coaching, either you coaching or you providing coaches
Yeah.
for your team.
Yeah. And what does a coach do? Just at some basic level, at a basic level.
Provide feedback.
All right. I'm glad you said that. So there's a lot of research on this as well. When we're trying to build mastery, we thrive, the brain thrives on quick, immediate feedback. Quick, immediate feedback. Not delayed. How many times have you heard this? I don't know. I work with a lot of different businesses, so I hear it all the time. But you've probably seen this or experienced it. And it's crazy that we're in 2026 and businesses still do this. But they will not meet with an employee one-on-one and give feedback until an annual eval. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? You haven't talked about my performance in 12 months, and now all of a sudden you're going to say, I need to improve in an area? Who wants to be treated like that? That's not going to build mastery, right? That doesn't build mastery. So quick, immediate feedback. And the newer they are, the more that's the case. But as they grow and become more autonomous, that feedback is not as critical. But I picked up running several years ago, and if you want to be a good distance runner, data feedback when you're running is so important. And so what tools do runners have to get that immediate feedback? Their cell phone, like a watch, a heart rate monitor. I'm getting constant feedback so I can make the appropriate adjustments real time so I can build mastery. I don't want to be running for 6 weeks and then like have like fatigue syndrome, right? No, I want that immediate feedback. That's how we build mastery. All right, what's another practical way?
Giving them something they're responsible for.
Okay, say that again.
Giving them something they are responsible for.
Okay, giving them that ownership, right? Recognition, yep.
Share the progress.
Right, showing that progress. Good.
Something really simple we started on our team is everyone who starts on our team starts at a junior level of their position.
Okay.
And their first 90 days, they have a training plan to become certified.
Got you.
So it's just a marker of progress.
Correct.
And we celebrate that. We take you through your powertrain, take you through your courses, to read a couple books. So it's not easy, but you see the progress.
Absolutely.
And then so you're certified, and then after a year, there's a chance to become a senior level in that position.
Okay.
And so it took some creative thought on my end to think about how to take what we're already doing to develop people, but then put it in a kind of a two-stage track.
I like
so
it.
they can feel the progress. I can see the progress, but can they see the progress? Do they feel the progress? Do they recognize it, that they're no longer a junior, they dropped it, but now we're certified or become a senior?
And there's no right answer on this. There's no right or wrong answer. Is there any pay change?
There can be, yeah.
But is it automatic to go from junior to certified?
There can be.
Okay, there can be. Okay.
It's performance-based.
Okay.
So.
But even if there wasn't, communicating that progress is important. And symbols are important. That's a whole nother thing. Symbols are a means of communication. They represent something. So just the name junior to certified, it's not like something actually happened in the atmosphere, right? It's just communication, showing progress, right? Which has a psychological effect of showing that progress. Okay, before we go on to the P, because we're kind of getting close on time here. Are we having fun, though? It's going fast. Let me say this specifically about the Gen Z and younger millennials. Two comments I want to make. The research shows, okay? This is why you paid your ticket to come today, all right? I'm going to give you your money's worth. The research shows that these three psychological needs that feed motivation hit the nail on the head with the younger generation. Okay, so you can take this to the bank. If you are developing autonomy, mastery, and P, we'll talk about in a second, which y'all can guess what it is. What? Pace? Praise? No, all right, maybe y'all can. Okay, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. We'll come back to it. Don't be looking it up on your phone. Huh? No.
We're all distracted now.
I know. It's my bad. Purpose. All right. We'll come back to purpose. Man, that's a mistake. Let me make that a note to not do that again in the next presentation. Okay. All right. But when we are building autonomy, mastery, and purpose, you are feeding core needs in a human that sustains motivation. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. These things feed motivation, and they were true 100 years ago. They're true today. Okay? So be confident in that. Number two, here's the difference that we're seeing. It's a behavioral difference in this younger generation is when these things don't exist, they don't hang around. Now, in previous generations, for a lot of factors and a lot of variables, we do a lot of teaching on generation stuff, people were more likely to tolerate when these things were violated or missing. You go back a couple of generations, there's just no other option, was there? No other option. I mean, I remember I actually lived with my grandfather for 3 years when I was in high school. And he grew up in the Depression. He was in World War II. And when I moved with him, he actually had just moved to some land, and we needed to build a barn and chicken coops and fences and all this stuff. And he knew like I don't know the language, like so many number of galvanized nails and all the measurements of different nails. And he was like, boy, if you couldn't drive this nail in 2 hits, you would lose your job. Like there was no, well, what's the purpose? What's the autonomy? It was like, you sink this nail in 2 hits or we'll find someone else, right? There are various factors, sociological, environmental factors that certain generations, there were no options, right? We don't live in those times anymore. Are y'all with me on that? And we can debate over coffee whether that's good, is it bad? That's a great conversation to have, okay? But I'm going to put that conversation over in that corner. Because guess what actually is? People in their 20s and 30s want and need these things. And guess what? If you don't provide it, someone else will. We don't live in the Great Depression anymore. We don't. We are very, very affluent. We are very affluent. And again, we can have emotional opinions about that, but the reality is we live in an affluent, very networked, very connected, very educated society. Period. And if we don't know how to develop people and connect with them at a deeper level than this is your job, do it, you get a paycheck, that just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. And again, we can debate on how good or bad that is and what our opinion of it is, but it is. That's who your workforce is. Okay, so get rid of the one 28-year-old, but then guess what you got out there? Another one. So we have to get this right because they're not going to tolerate that, right? Now, and when I say they don't tolerate it, I'm not saying they call the shots. I have Gen Zs working for me. I have 2 teenage daughters. My employees don't call the shots. My daughters don't call the shots. But I can lead them in a way that they thrive, right? It's not an either or, right? We can lead with authority and strength and still do these things. Those aren't mutually exclusive, okay? All right, so let's talk about purpose. What is purpose? It's the why. It's the why. It's about, huh?
I said, it is purpose. I thought that's what we guessed.
Oh.
No.
Did you say it?
Yeah.
You said
we didn't hear
purpose?
you. Yeah, say it louder.
Good job.
You get a bag of tea.
You won. Give her the tea. Give her the tea. It's purpose. I thought I misspelt it, which would not be, it would not be out of the ordinary. I'm a horrible speller. All right. So purpose is the why. Purpose is about meaning. It's about connection. We talked about that, all those relationship comments. When I'm highly motivated, when my relationships are strong, that's purpose. Connection, contribution. I see that what I'm doing matters. I see that what I do makes a difference. I see that what I do has an impact. All that's about purpose. And so we don't have time, but think about why you do what you do. Why does your organization exist? How can you instill that in your people? But beyond that, you've got to know what drives them. What's their purpose? What's their meaning? Because we can have multiple purposes and meanings coexisting to make a team work. Okay? And we've got to beat that drum, beat that drum, beat that drum. Where does your organization exist in the larger ecosystem? Right now, I'm working with a bank, and they're having to kind of redefine their identity. And one of the projects we're working on is helping them see what would be missing in your community if this bank didn't exist. Okay? That's a way to think about your organizational purpose. All right, so let me finish with a quick story. Anybody ever heard of Viktor Frankl? Other than my boy Matt. I don't expect that you do, but you will after today. So he was an Austrian Jew during the 1940s, and he went through multiple Nazi prison camps and ultimately was in Auschwitz. And he was a psychologist, and he had really done his kind of final manuscript on something called logotherapy. Again, you can go research this. Logotherapy was an articulation that the primary drive in a man, in a woman, is meaning. Meaning. People are driven by meaning. Up until that point, your popular psychologists like Freud and others had said, no, the primary drive is pleasure, or the primary drive is power. But Victor said, no, man's primary drive is to have a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose. Well, that manuscript was destroyed by the Nazis, ripped up, shredded. So he's in prison camp. He lost his parents. They died at the hands of the Nazis. He lost his brother. He lost his wife, who was pregnant. Lost it all. And he observed in the prison camps that some people were able to sustain hope, and some others fizzled out very quickly. And one of the main reasons these folks that sustained themselves is because they had something bigger than themselves that they had in mind. They had someone they wanted to see. They had something they wanted to accomplish. For Victor, it was three things. Number one, he wanted to rewrite that manuscript. He would have to do it all from memory because it was all completely destroyed. There was no cell phone. There was no file on his hard drive somewhere. Number two is he didn't know whether his wife was alive or not because they were separated. But he thought to himself, even if she's dead, the love that we have for one another and the prospect of that relationship is enough to keep me going. And that's the power of relationship. And then finally, he saw himself post-imprisonment teaching and helping people find meaning even in their difficulties and suffering. So he longed for a greater purpose on the other side. Well, he did get out of prison, and he rewrote that manuscript, of course, with adaptation and expansion, having gone through that experience, in 9 days. And in 9 days, he rewrote that manuscript from memory, and it became the book called Man's Search for Meaning. It's one of the most impactful psychological books on the drive of meaning in mankind. So, your organizations have purpose. Your role as a leader has purpose. The people on your team, they have a purpose. We want to help unpack that and find out what that is. And I want to leave you with this last challenge, and then I'll give it back over to Matt. Trying to learn how to lead this next generation, find purpose in that endeavor. It's not easy, but find a purpose in it. For me, figuring out how to lead the next generation is worth any work I can put in. because it's the people that are going to be leading families and leading organizations for decades to come. It's worth the work and the effort. I thank you guys for having me. It's been great. Thanks for all your contribution.
That was so good. Man, I took a page full of notes. Thank you.